Hello, fellow simmers. It's Samuel Beeman of BLS here, and welcome to 2026. Happy New Year, all. I hope you all had a great New Year's Eve. And this evening, I'm going to be showing you the first release of 2026, which is the Elham Valley Heritage Railway beta of 2026. So, for those of you who are unaware, we do this regular release update beta of the Elham Valley Railway each year. So that means that for the past 3 years, the Elham Valley Railway has been the first release of that particular year. So once again, we are carrying on with the trend of that, and the Elham Valley Railway Beta 2026 update has now been released. So this route has been produced by Jordan Devison. It's actually a fictional based route on a real railway, and it's a part of his universe as well. So we have like our own British Locomotive Studios universe, fictitious universe. You can see quite a lot of that on our video sim series, where we show off some of the workings within the British Locomotive Studios train sim classic universe. And yeah, basically, it's a fictional route based on a real railway in the southeast of England. So it's not 100% accurate to the real thing. So it's sort of a, I suppose you could say, semi-fictional, semi-real railway, because it's like based on the real railway, but not 100%. It's almost as if they relayed the track down and all of that, and this is sort of ish what it would look like ish, but obviously the gradients aren't 100%, and yeah, all of that. So yeah, it's more fictional than real, but all of the places are real. They're in, you can look up Peen and Canterbury South and all of that, and it's actually there in real life, and you can actually walk the track bed of where the railway used to be. And Jordan's tried his best on modelling a majority of the areas as to real life references. So it's, so as I say, it's sort of based on a real railway, but it isn't, and that's what's quite interesting about this route. So this route is still very much a WIP route, so there is some areas that don't have scenery added, but will have when the final route is released. There are a fair amount of requirements needed for this route, and the list can be found at the bottom of this manual. So the Elham Valley Railway is a 13-mile long heritage railway. It's 7 stations running from Peen, the headquarters of the railway, all the way to Canterbury South. The railway has some steep gradients along the line, so it can be a challenge for drivers to keep to time. More history and more of the fictional story will come with the final release of this route. Thank you for downloading this BLS Discord exclusive beta route. So yeah, for those who don't know as well, it is actually an exclusive to our Discord server. So the only way you can get hold of this is if you are a member of the British Locomotive Studios Discord. So these are the requirements as of December 2025. So from Armstrong Powerhouse, you need the Vegetation EP, the Wherry Lines, Weather version 2, so that's the Weather Enhancement Pack, and the Signal Enhancement Pack as well. From Alan Thompson Simulations, you need the Cambridge to Peterborough route. From ALGB, you need the Rail and Lattice signals, which are UKTS files 32114 and 32041. You can likely find these on the Internet Archives. The British Locomotive Studios Spa Valley Railway, which actually removes quite a lot of UKTS assets that were required for this route originally, which is good because a majority of them UKTS assets have now been included with the Spa Valley route. And you also need the Chaddock Engineering Turntables pack, which is the Turntables and Water Towers pack, which is on the British Locomotive Studios website under UKTS content. You need the Creative Rail East Midlands Coal, the Dovetail Games, Chatham Main Line, London Victoria and Blackfriars, Dover and Ramsgate, Southampton to Bournemouth and Fife Circle. You also need a bunch of Golden Age developments routes, which is the Dorset Coast, North Somerset route. You need the signalling equipment pack as well. You need the old signs pack, pre-World War II pack and road vehicles pack, as well as the West of England main line. For Just Trains, you need the community library, which is basically the common library, but basically it's recommended to have just a complete Midland mainline collection because that's what we all have at BLS. That's basically us staff at BLS have the complete Midland mainline. So if you have that, then you will be able to run this route probably. You would have the same amount of JT assets as we have, and obviously that helps with the Spa Valley route as well because you need the complete Midland mainline collection for that as well. And then you also need the Michael Whiteley EE Type 3B add-on, which I believe is the Return to Mardy add-on. So yeah, so there is a few requirements for the route, but I think we can all agree, oh, there's even more. But I think we can agree that when we have a look at the route, you can see why, because it's a very detailed, very good-looking route. So from RS Railworks, you need the Clutter Packs 1 and 2. From RS Derrick, you need the Weardown Teesdale Railway Network, which is on Steam. RSC, so this is the old Dovetail Games content. You need the West Somerset route, the Woodhead route, Doncaster Works, AP Stations pack, and UK Signal Pros pack, which comes with a few routes, to be honest, the Signal Pro pack. And it's also a part of the Armstrong Powerhouse Signal EP. So if you have the Signal EP, you will definitely have the UK Signals Pro pack. From Steam Sound Supreme, you need the Stainmore route, the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway route, and the West Somerset Railway route. I'm not entirely sure why the West Somerset Railway route is a requirement for this, considering that we have the West Somerset Members Edition on the BLS website. I don't know why the West Somerset Super Detail route would be required for this, but nevertheless, it's there. We need the Thompson Interactive West Coast Mainline Trent Valley route, and from Vulcan Productions you need the Grass Pack, Trees, Road and Track packs. So yeah, and then there's obviously the information on how to install the route. So you get to obviously open the folder Elham Valley, then copy and paste or drag and drop the folder named Assets and Content into your Railworks directory located there. And then after this, you actually have to go over to the Assets folder and run the Elham Signs install bat. So the interesting thing about the Elham Signs is these were actually reskinned by permission of Golden Age Developments themselves. Jordan actually had a chat with Golden Age Developments regarding some signal sign reskins, and basically, in a sense, reskin some of them assets or some of their assets to the signs that are along the Elham Valley Railway, and they were okay with this. So special thanks goes to Golden Age Developments for allowing Jordan to be able to reskin those signs for the route. And yeah, basically that's it. So you get 2 plain free roam scenarios, which should include, they're included to get you started really. But we do have plans to add scenarios to the route in the future, which is based around the BLS universe, so you guys can sort of get a sort of feel to the British Locomotive Studios universe and sort of have a part to play ish with having scenarios which will be somewhat canon to the BLS universe. So there we go. That is the route manual. So now that we've gone through that, let's actually have a look at the route itself, because that's what we're all here for. So let's switch over to Train Sim. And we can see here we are currently at the headquarters of the railway, Peen, or Pennin. I mean, we used to call it Pennin, but we don't know whether it's Pennin or Peen. But we're going to assume now that it is Peen. So Peen, home of the Elham Valley Railway. So that's one of the new signs that come with the route. We've now got a welcome sign into the actual car park, which is very, very nicely done. And obviously we can go into the car park from here and come up to Peen Station, which, as you can see here, we've got some really nice like posters and stuff around the station, which are done very, very well. And we've had a look round here before. We know how Peen Station looks, and it is smart, isn't it? Yeah, we've got all of the bits and pieces. So this is the steam sheds area. So this is sort of the area where a lot of locomotives are stored. And you can see here that Jordan has actually added these really nice shutter doors here, which is good because as well, like with having them open, especially if you're doing scenarios and that, usually it would entail you having to plonk down a load of locos in stock within the engine shed. So it's quite good that he's put these shutters doors down, because that means You won't have to place as many locos and rolling stock within that shed because it's not really seen like from a distance, so it helps in the means of reducing frames. So fair play on him with that, with adding that in. We've got obviously the pits from where they do the work, or we've got a bit of ballast overhanging there. That's a bit of an issue, but that's not too much of a problem. We also have some more clutter around the place. We've got this old Class 08 here with the tender, which is a very nice touch, I must say. We've got the turntable here, which is very smart. I believe this is from the Turntables Water Towers pack, or it could be the Golden Age developments. It's one of which. But we've also got nice little details down here as well. You know, like this little bench here where the staff can sit, and then just random bits of clutter just dotted about. So there is, there has been some more detail placed down on that front as well in the means of clutter. We've got a random telephone box just plonked there, which is quite cool, isn't it? But yeah, over here, this is the diesel sheds. So this is where all the diesels are stored. This is using the East Midlands coal asset, and we've got obviously pits there. We've got random bits of steps just plonked around. It's bits of clutter that that people like to see. We've got obviously a workbench there, which looks smart as well. We've got obviously all the racking and boxes and things, probably with parts and things like that to help with the maintenance of the diesel locos. We've got the fueling station for the diesels. This is where we fuel up the diesels, and obviously they get going, and then they'll come out here to the lovely signal gantry, and then run onto the stock. So the locomotive of choice today is 33003, aka D6503, which is one of the resident Class 33s at the Elham Valley Railway. So this is sort of a D6508, D6515 look-alike, I suppose you could say, because it's obviously the BR green half yellow panel livery with headlight and warning flashes. And obviously we've got the cant line as well. So I think the intention for this loco is to be mainline. I could be incorrect about that though, so we'll have to see what happens over time. But yeah, so that's D6503. This was originally in BR green full yellow, which to be fair, I actually preferred it in BR green full yellow because it was something a little bit different. But to be fair, if Jordan wants it in half yellow, Jordan wants it in half yellow, so he's painted it into this livery instead now, which fair enough, but we've got loads of them in that livery. We've got the West Somerset ones that carry that livery. We've got D6515 that carries that livery. But it's his universe. It's his locomotive fleet. So at the end of the day, this is what he's gone for. So yeah, without further ado, we shall unpause the game and get started with driving the loco down the route. So this is not your bog standard average reskin. This is actually the Class 33 enhancement pack, which is coming soon from us here at British Locomotive Studios, Matthew Wilson of Vulcan Productions, and Golden Goldsmith Studios. It is the BR Green Class 33 EP, and as most of you are aware, it's going to be payware once it is released, and hopefully we'll get it finished during 2026 at some point. At the moment, it's having some more work done. We're actually adding some more bits and pieces to it, which we feel that need adding, because if they're not added, then people will ask questions like, why has that not been added, or why has this not been added, etc. So yes, it's been delayed, but it's been delayed for a good reason, and it's at the end of the day, quality takes time, and Matt is giving this 100%. Like, he is giving this 100%. So when it is released, it will be worth the wait. Trust me. So first things first, we need to obviously click on the loco. We'll go into the cab so that the game registers which cab that we are in, and then we'll go round to the front. We'll press K and Control K to remove our tail lights. And then we shall set up our head code. So if I'm not mistaken, it should be Control Shift 7. Yep, there we go. And we'll change this to just 33 to be fair, because I don't really know the head codes on the Elham Valley. Sorry, Jordan. So we're just going to put it as 33. This is just so you guys can see the lovely head codes in action, which were done by Matt Wilson, and they just look absolutely fantastic, don't they, on this 33. Really looking forward to getting this one released. It's going to be absolutely fantastic once it is released. And I'm sure that everyone is going to really enjoy using it. So it's Control Shift 6 for the other side. And then it is Control H for the lights for the head code, but to be fair, as it's daytime, we don't really need to make use of that at the moment, so we'll just have the headlight for this run. There we go, 33, and we'll put our headlight on. There we go. So we're all pretty set up for the working down to Canterbury South. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a rundown of the route, have a little look round, obviously show off what the 2026 beta has to offer. I shall make sure I link the Discord link in the description of the video, so if you guys want to become a member of the Discord and get hold of the route, you're more than welcome to. The route is technically on the website-ish, but it's basically it links to a product page, and the product page says available on Discord, which then in turn links to our Discord. So the product page is pretty invalid, to be fair. If you want to get hold of this route, you have to be a Discord member. That's just how it is. So yeah, let's get ourselves set up. So we've got the signal. We're okay on that front. We'll just check our road ahead to make sure that all the points are set though, which, yes, they're looking okay. We might have to double check as we approach stations because sometimes we actually end up going in the wrong road. Yeah, that's one of the things with it. Put ourselves into the Loco brake on. We've actually got a nice window hang view on this as well, which is pretty cool. Let's have a little bit of window hang action, shall we? Something a little bit different, you know, so we can see the scenery pass from a passenger's perspective. Okay. So having recently driven the default RSC Class 33, as in just this is your bog standard RSC Dovetail Games 33, it made me realise just how different this enhancement pack version drives. It really is a lot better. It's not overly sensitive, and it just drives really nicely compared to the standard Dovetail Games RSC 33. So I'm happy to report that this thing will drive a lot better. So this is the steep incline up from Keene. It's very steep. It's 1 in 48 gradient here. yeah, if we have a look around some of the scenery, we can see that we've started to get some more distant scenery placed in. So a lot of this distant scenery was just blank canvas in the previous version of the route, but one of the things that Jordan's been focusing on within the 2026 update is more of the distant scenery. The line side foliage and scenery itself was pretty much done a while ago. It's just had bits of tinkering now and again for the next versions of the route. What you can see as well, we've actually got pylons and stuff as well which have been added in, and just, yeah, there's a lot more scenery around this general area of the route. So the scenery has been changed a majority around sort of the Peen areas. As we get further towards Canterbury South, the scenery kind of gets a little bit more less, and that is because of the fact that Jordan hasn't yet got to that point yet of scenerising the distant scenery around those sections. So we're coming up now to Etching Hill Tunnel. So one of the things I do like about this route as well is the difference in foliage. You know, the amount of difference that Jordan's done in the means of the foliage. You know, different bits of grass, different bits of, you know, colours, and it does look really nice. We've also got, you know, stuff like this coming up here. We've got this distance signal which has the white like painted brick behind it. The reasoning for that was actually for the drivers to be able to see the signal better, which is why the signal is in front of a white background, as it were. And that is the reasoning for those white brick areas. But yeah, you can see he's done a lot of scenery within the cab limits. I nearly missed that because I pressed the tab button instead of the Q key, which is annoying. Luckily it didn't mess up any of the signals. But yeah, you can see that he's focusing on the scenery closest to the cab. Also, fun fact, the reason that Jordan has actually placed down these AWS ramps isn't just because, you know, he thinks, oh yeah, our route or my route needs to have AWS ramps. It is purely down to the fact that he actually has the TS controllers AWS plunger, and he just wants an excuse to use his plunger. That is literally the reason to why the AWS ramps are on this route, pretty much. This is a lovely area coming up here. We'll have a look round it when we've stopped in the station. But we can see here now we've got this bridge here. This bridge wasn't here on the previous versions of the route. This is recently been added in because Jordan has a book of the Elham Valley Railway, and he noticed that this bridge was actually here in that area before this station. And there's actually a picture of a C-Class being taken from that bridge. So this is Leminge, or Lemming. I don't exactly know how you pronounce it, but I'm going to keep the loco brake on for this one because it's a gradient. So I mean the train brake. But yeah, so this is Leminge. And you can see here as well, we've got some more custom signage, well, reskin GAD assets. We've got the signal box sign there. And we also have station totems as well, which are looking really, really nice. And just your, your bog standard sign as well. But yeah, it looks good. So we've got this bit here, this sort of cattle dock as well, which looks nice. But yeah, obviously the main change is this bridge. This bridge is a completely new thing that's been added. And we've got a lot more detail around the housing estate as well. So I don't know whether you guys have seen the video on our YouTube channel of Jordan actually doing stuff with this area. I will actually link it in the description of the video so you guys can take a look. We actually have got a video of Jordan actually working on the route and doing bits and pieces on it, and yeah, he was actually, as you can see, lowering these path, the paths. So so it kind of links to the garage. Yeah, so we've got just little details like that, which makes it look smart. The gardens still need detailing, as far as I know, but at least you've got the basic shape there, but you just need assets in there, to finish it off. But yeah, you can see, the amount of detail that's been put in here is extraordinary, really. I mean, we've got some fantastic stuff. There's a pub over there, the Railway Tavern. We've got some. We've got a manor house, a church over there. So there's lots to look at. Lots to be seen. Yeah, the scenery overall has improved a lot around this area. Okay, so we've got the guard's whistle, so we can get ourselves moving again. I'm just going to keep it in the on position, to be fair, because there's no point powering down here. In fact, I'll just shut it, as the gradient will do the work for us. So obviously, guys, if you do download this route and you get hold of it, let us know in the comments what you think. We'll be really interested to know your feedback on the route, and yeah, if there's anything that you think needs changing or improving on it, we're always open to feedback, and I'm sure that Jordan will be open to your feedback too. Yeah, so this is quite a steep gradient down, 1 in 48 downhill, so we don't really need to apply any power, really. But yeah, just look at this, this is really coming on. It's got all the fields and distant scenery looking really good from the cab. Frame rates from what I'm getting at the moment, it's a solid 60 FPS, and that's from majority of the route, which is again very, very good. So one of the things as well that Jordan has done is he's actually removed large clusters of VP grass. The issue with large clusters of the Vulcan production grass pack is it does kill the frames. Like literally, it just tanks the frame rates and it causes horrendous tile lag. So the best way for making use of VP grass is in small clusters close by the track. It's not to be used in large clusters. It just tanks the game. And I think I mean there was never a disclaimer about that with the release of the Vulcan Productions grass, but it was Ash of VP who stated within the Golden Age development server that it is recommended to obviously use the grass in smaller clusters. So yeah. We've got the sheep there, all in the field. A nice bit of, just extra things to look at, to make the route more appealing for the driver. But yeah, this area here is looking really, really nice now. I mean, look, you can just see the amount of scenery work that he's done to this area. Loads have been done throughout the year around here. Bear in mind that this was mostly a blank canvas around here in the previous version of the route. You know, it's really has come on. Oh, there's a bit of a clipping problem there with the lofts. Got yellow on the distance, so potential red ahead. Try and get some nice screenshots of the train as well if I can, running along the route. I mean, just look at that. Look how fantastic that looks. Just beautiful. Got approaching a red actually as it happens. Oh, you see? That's what happens when you take screenshots. That would be why we've got a red, because we're actually going into the wrong platform. Well, do you know what? It's good to test and see that that signal is working properly, and it is. So, you know what? Fair play to it. So we've established that the signals actually work. We'll just ignore that. Obviously, I'm not going to be driving properly in this. I'm just showcasing the route. It's very, very hard to drive and showcase the route at the same time, as most of you will probably be aware. Really, when you're driving, you have to sort of be in the cab the whole time and just concentrate, but obviously I'm trying to show off the route and do it at the same time. It's a lot more difficult. So again, we've got gardens. This time though, the gardens have actually got detail in them. So this is Elham. You'll see when we stop here that Elham has really come on well. Yeah, so this is Elham. We've got obviously all the signs again. Signs are at every station now, pretty much. I believe there's one or two that maybe don't have them because he's maybe forgotten to place them down, but that might have changed in this version. There we go, so we've got Elham all there, and as it should be. We've got the car park modelled and looking very, very smart. We'll have a look at some of the gardens. Obviously got clutter and stuff in there. Something that Jordan said he will do around here as well is do some bits and pieces with the roads. So obviously, as you can see, we've got the garages here, but there's no like paths or roads linking to these. So like what he did at Lyminge, he will put the paths in place. Yeah, we've got the church up there. We've got, you know, just random, just bits and pieces, you know, shops and things. You know, it does look really nice. We've got obviously the allotments, which again another nice feature. I mean, the station itself is really nice as well. So we've got obviously the platform ramp that takes us up into the station. This is the second platform. This is the rather large goods area, which is rather large for a heritage railway, but you know, it's there. It can store a lot of wagons and stuff. The Elham signal box sign. But yeah, you can see that the grass has been removed here because this was all VP grass originally, which sort of tanked the frame rates. So you know, it's going to be worked on. I think as well, sometimes less is more, and you know that's what sometimes I do think is a good aspect with a route. Is sometimes less can be more, so you can make something look as equally as good without having to make use with loads of 3D grass. We'll try and get a nice picture here somewhere if we can. He says. Yeah, it looks quite good, doesn't it? Okay, so we can now move on to our next location. One of the things I want to show is this view down here, the crossing. Look at that, we started to have some road signs being added and other bits and pieces. Oh yes, another an excuse of a AWS plunger there. I don't think it will go off for us though, 'cause it's facing the opposite direction. So as you can see, it's a very highly detailed route. Lots to see, lots to experience, but it is also a very, very challenging route. And in all honesty, for me, it can come across as quite annoying. I'm going to be honest. I find it very up and down, all over the shot. You have to be on it with this one. It's very, very hard to showcase this route because you have to be on it. You know, it's not a route that you can just, you know, faff around on. You know, it's got to be taken seriously. You know, it's a serious drive. You've got to concentrate. You've got to be aware of all of the gradients, all of the changes, and yeah, it's a very, very challenging route. So if you're good at driving trains in Train Simulator, this is definitely the route for you. If you're still a beginner and you're not necessarily quite there with driving trains yet, then this route you might want to think about driving a bit more later down the line. You know, when you've got a little bit more used to driving trains, when you've got a little bit more the hang of it. You know. So we're now coming up to my personal favourite area of the route, which is this one coming up here, where we're literally in open fields, open countryside, and it just looks absolutely stunning. Yeah, so this is without a doubt my favourite area of the route. It just looks, I just love it. You know, it feels countryside-y. It's really, really nice. You've probably seen within the video sim series this area of the route filmed quite frequently for some of the clips, because it is just a nice area and it captures, you know, it's very photogenic, very, you know, you can make lots of videos from this area. Yeah, it's this area here beyond this bridge. It's just here, you know, this, my favourite areas, you know. Just looks beautiful. we've just gone past, well, we're coming up to Gold Park Foot Crossing, which is a caravan park, which is to our right. Well, you can see, look, just I'm having to stop talking because I'm trying to concentrate. You know, it's you have to concentrate on this route. It's a route that you kind of want to play without any disturbances. It's one of those kind of routes, you know, you've got to be on it. Got this really nice footpath here as well. You can kind of imagine this spot being quite popular with enthusiasts. Yeah, coming down here to get, to get video of the train. Got a green distant. So you can see, like, obviously coming up towards sort of halfway down the route and stuff, the scenery is starting to get a little bit less detailed, especially on the right hand side up there. Like, you can see we've got a lot of bare spots up there. So you can see that this is the areas that Jordan's kind of got to continue the work on within the scenery department. As we sort of come into the more lesser scenery part of the route now. The bits that Jordan still needs to work on, in a sense. So we'll just check that our road is set correctly, which it is. Got the lovely use of the banner repeater there. So LED banner repeater actually, as it happens. It's not a steam mirror one. So I believe a lot of the signalling work was aided by Lewis Brown, aka LJ Trains, or Ludge. He's known by many nicknames now. But yeah, obviously him being signal veg, he kind of knows where signals should be. Again, as it's on a gradient, I'm going to keep the train brake on. So this is Barham. So we've got the obviously again signal box signs, the standard station signs, and we also have the totems as well. So the interesting thing about Barham is the actual track work has changed slightly, has been altered. So originally the siding behind the station spurred off from here and came round to here. This was later found out that this was actually wrong. So looking at Jordan's book and pictures of the original Barham station, the actual siding itself was on this side of the station. So it is now in the correct position, how it used to be. So he's tried to recreate the stations as much as he can. So like, in a sense, I suppose the law goes that the people who relayed the track on this heritage line wanted to get it as original as possible. So they've even down to placing the track down. So that's why he's gone for the most original station layout as he can get. Accuracy wise. But yeah, so Barham, apart from the track work, it hasn't changed an awful lot since the previous update. I mean, we've got a few added buildings here and there. Scenery is still a heavy work in progress around here, as we can tell. It hasn't changed a great amount since the previous update. But obviously we have all of the signs and stuff now, and obviously the layout of the station has been altered and changed slightly since the previous version. So once again, this is why no scenarios have been included with the route yet, because track is being altered and changed in places, obviously after getting more research about the original railway when it was back in the 50s, 60s. So, well, it's even earlier than that. I think, is it 30s? Oh, I can't remember the history on the Elham Valley. You'll have to ask Jordan on that one. But back in the steam era, when it was running, basically we're getting more information about that and having to alter the track work here and there. But yeah, so that's Barham. We'll get going to our next station and we'll release our brake. If I'm not mistaken, we've got a bit of a gradient out of here as well. The scenery, especially on the left side, has changed slightly. We've got a nice hill here with grass and foliage, sort of an open area. I believe that was all trees before, if I'm not mistaken. I like this. Basketball court. I'm not mistaken, I believe the next station is Bridge. But yeah, what I will say is, with the work that Jordan's done, it has made the route a lot more of an enjoyable drive. I think, you know, little details and scenery alters and bits and pieces really do it justice. You know, it's made it more drivable, more interesting to use. Do I recommend the Elham Valley Railway 2026 beta? Yes. If you're interested in heritage lines and you want a nice drive with plenty of gradients, a challenging drive, something a little bit more, you know, for the veteran players, then this is definitely the route for you. And if you like your southern region, once again, this is that route that you'll enjoy. So obviously I'm overviewing the route, obviously showing you it off, but I suppose I'm also, in a sense, sort of ish reviewing it and sharing my thoughts on it as well, which is interesting, obviously, because, you know, you guys sit there and think, well, Sam, he's BLS, you know, it's why is he reviewing a BLS product? Well, to be fair, I haven't touched this route. This is all Jordan's work, all of it, the whole thing. It's all Jordan. Every single other BLS staff member within the staff team also hasn't had any input on this. This is solely Jordan Deverson's route, apart from obviously signalling and stuff, which Lewis has had some input in, but apart from that, you know, it's all Jordan's. So it's like, you know, I'm looking at something that I don't really see often. I don't get regular updates on this route. I don't get, you know, regular photos sent to me or progress updates on this route saying, yeah, Sam, I've done this, I've done that. You know, it's a bit different if it's a real world route that we're working on, like modelling, you know, something like, you know, say if we did the East Lancashire Railway or something, you know, and did that route, you know, we would have to have continuous updates on who's working at it, you know, on it at a specific time and all of that. So obviously, you know, we'll all be a part of the development of that particular route, within reason. It's whoever wants to be a part of it. But on a route like this, which is personal to Jordan, and he's doing regular updates on his own to a route, it's a little bit different. The map almost threw me off there. But we are going into the right platform by the looks of it. This is not Bridge. At least I don't think it is. We will see. Unless it's changed that much that I can't even recognise it. In which case, wow. Okay, let's have a look, see what the station name is as we appear, you know, as we approach it. I can't see. I'm going too fast. We'll have to see when we stop. Yeah, this isn't Bridge. Didn't think so. This is Bishopsbourne. So it's Bishopsbourne and then it's Bridge. then it's Canterbury South. I was going to say, I don't recognise it as bridge. Oh, we're just slightly off the platform. We're also moving slightly. Just then. Anyway, Bishopsbourne, yeah. We've seen this before. We've got this bridge here, which I think has been altered since the previous version. And I believe, again, this is another one of those stations where the track work has been altered. So we've got, obviously, the siding on this side of the station rather than the other side, which was over here, I believe, before. So, yeah, again, another station with the track work that has been altered. We've got the pathway from the station to the signal box, which is a nice touch. We've got, obviously, you can go over there and head to the signal box. That's for the signaller. Got the signs for the Bishopsbourne signal box, and obviously your bog standard station totems and your standard station sign. Oh dear. There's a slight spelling error there, I think. So that says Bishopsbourne. It should be Bishopsbourne. It's missing the H. So yeah, that could be something that Deverson needs to update in the future. Probably not on this release, considering it's a bit too late now. But yeah, we've got the totems that say the correct name, and obviously the signal box has the correct ones. But we're missing an H on the bog standard station sign, so that needs looking at. We'll just ignore that for now. Obviously, we've got the station building itself. With the walkway or the road up to the station, which is interesting. It's yeah, it's nice to see it there. I wonder what asset that is. Probably one of the Golden Age Development's assets. But yeah, it's looking all right. We've got this sort of area down here. I believe this is for the railgun, if I remember correctly. This is for like a museum exhibit, the railgun, where people can come down and view the exhibit. And that's what that little platform is going to be for. But yeah, so we are at Bishopsbourne. I might get a quick photo there because that does look quite nice. Although it's actually no, I won't do that because it's got the wrong station name. This is Bishopsbourne. You know, we don't want to get that photo. We don't want to get a photo of that. Yeah, it does look nice. I notice we're creeping forward slightly. That's not good, is it? Mind you, that could be a TS thing. There we are. Anyway, let's get ourselves moving. The next station should be Bridge. We hope. Yeah, Bishopsbourne was one of the ones that he didn't actually have the signs on when I actually had a test of it previously, quite recently actually, I think it was last week. That was one of the stations that didn't have the signs on, but now obviously evidently on the 2026 beta release he has added them in. We've still got that odd tunnel thing that's been there since day one of the first beta release, where you can see sort of underneath the world, as it were, as we approach this tunnel. That will be removed one day. Oh, this is real steep uphill gradient here, 1 in 62. The steepest part of the line, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, mind you, Peen was 1 in 48, so perhaps not. But it does feel steep. And then it sort of flattens out and goes downhill slightly. This is what I mean by you have to be on it, you know, it's very, very challenging. You've got a yellow on the distant. Yeah, as you can see, I'm more focusing on the driving now because we don't want to spat again like I did earlier. But obviously, you know, I had to show off the areas that had been changed and altered from the previous 2025 beta version. So, especially around them areas around Peen, further up towards Elham, you know, that area had serious modifications and alterations since the 2025 version. This area, not so much. Yeah, we've got a red signal again. Oh, now it's gone green. I nearly made that same mistake I did earlier, where I zoomed out and was looking around the scenery without paying attention to the signals. Right, so now we've passed that, we can actually have a look round. But yeah, you can see there's started some housing development over there, which is a new feature if I'm not mistaken. We've started to get, I suppose you could say, a basis of scenery coming up at Bridge, but it's not a great deal just yet. You can tell that this area, once again, is another heavy WIP area. We got the signal into the left-hand road, so we are in the correct road for the station. I like this bridge actually. This bridge is new. I think this was originally a QG bridge or one of those, you know, basic arched bridge. Yeah, it looks decent. So a lot of stuff has been altered and changed and moved around from mainly due to photos in a book that Jordan got, I think was last Christmas. So a lot of stuff is more accurate and appropriate to what it was when the railway was in its heyday. Now this station's interesting because you sort of have to have the power open. You know, you have to have the throttle open as you approach because of that really steep hill. Once again, I am going to lean the train on the train brake because of the gradient. Yeah, so this is Bridge. Got the signal box sign. We don't have any station signs here yet either. Okay, so maybe this is one of the stations that Jordan put the station signs down on. But yeah, we've got the single box sign. So there's not really an awful lot I can show you around bridge. There's not a lot that's changed. So we've got the sandbags here, which is smart. You know, random bits of clutter that's been plunked down. But apart from this, it's basically essentially the same as what it was before. Obviously, scenery started to appear. We've got all of the sidings over there as well. Rolled back ever so slightly there. This is very, very steep actually. Really need to thrash out here. So this section is interesting in the sense that this is where the colour light signals start to come in. This is mainly due to the mainline connection at Canterbury South. So you get a bit of a mixture of colour light and semaphore along this section here. So something I will do when we come to doing and showcasing the 2027 beta of Elham Valley is I might actually drive from the opposite direction for a change. Because I always seem to drive from Elham to Canterbury South in the majority of these videos. That signal's broken and needs fixing. But I never tend to really drive from Canterbury South down to Pennin or Peen. So I may do a change at some point during one of the videos, you know, just so we can have a little bit of a different view perspective of the Elham Valley. But I'm sure that Jordan has actually done a live stream or a long video, like doing a full round trip of the Elham Valley. I believe it was in the 9F at some stage. So as you can see, we're now in officially the work in progress zone. This area is very underdeveloped to oppose to the rest of the route. So as stated sort of at the beginning of the video, I said how the scenery is mostly like, it's getting a lot better around sort of Peen towards sort of Elham area, but then it sort of starts to fade out and die out towards Canterbury South. Obviously that is due to the fact that the area is still underdeveloped and a heavy work in progress. So if you look back here, we've got a nice sort of football ground. I will show the main line link in a minute actually, because we did pass it further back there. I will show that before we head off. So we're approaching Canterbury South Station. We can see we've got some more buildings to the left hand side of us now. Originally that was just sort of plain and nothing in particular was there. So we've got some nice suburban houses, as it were, a bit of a housing estate going on beside the track. So the law goes here as well that you're not actually allowed to use horns and whistles much, and there's actually a station sign to sort of make the drivers aware of that. I will show you in a minute once we've stopped. Because it's a residential area and, you know, all of that, and it's a big town, city sort of area, they don't want us to overuse the horns, in a sense. That's how the law goes. And here we are, our last port of call on the Elham Valley Railway at Canterbury South. So we have litter bins with litter in there, which is again pretty cool, nice detail. The station building, got the fire buckets, Canterbury South station signs, and we also have the totems somewhere. Yeah, there they are, Canterbury South totems. But yeah, we've got obviously houses appearing alongside the station. The Southern Railway Quiet Please sign is here, so there we go, Quiet Please residential area. Because it's residential, we can't use the horns very much around here, so that is basically how it goes in that regard. We'll head over here, we can see our mainline links. This is where we link to the main lines. This is where all the visiting locos come from to the Elham Valley Railway. We've got this extra yard here. I mean, to be fair, I don't know where this fits in the law. Jordan needs to really write a book up, really telling us all about the law. I don't really know where that fits. But we've got obviously the signals onto the main line here and onto the railway itself. And the main line is down that way over there. We can just about see it over there with them two tracks. But yeah, so that is, and I believe that links to the real life Canterbury station. It's sort of down that sort of direction. And obviously you've got your sheds here down at the end of Canterbury South. A few yard lamps and bits and pieces. Car park overlooking the line. This looks great, to be fair. This does look really, really good. So yeah, I do like that. That does look nice. So there you have it, guys. That is the first British Locomotive Studios release of 2026 with the Elham Valley Railway Beta 2026. I hope you enjoyed this overview and look of the new version of the Elham Valley Railway, and if you want to download it, then the link to our Discord server is in the description of the video. It is a Discord exclusive route, as mentioned at the beginning of the video, so you will only be able to obtain it if you are a member of our Discord server, and it comes under the channel Discord exclusives with a download link. So there we have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed my video on the Elham Valley Railway Beta 2026. I will see you in another video. Happy New Year to all of you, and it's a goodbye from me, Samuel Beeman of BLS.